Hello, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to my Wednesday beginner card class. I'm Tessa, as you know, and today I'm going to put together the Merry Mail holiday card kit from Creative Memories. So if you are like me, the holidays come up fast. I'm never as prepared. Every year I say I'm going to have all the basics done before December ever hits so that in December I can actually enjoy the fun and joy of the holiday season, whatever comes up, the traditions, well, for me, a lot of sporting events, just December in general, right, is a busy month. And so Creative Memories puts out a card kit every year, and a lot of times it sells out by the end of October. I don't know if this one is on track to sell out that fast. But I did want to get it put together because if this is a kit that you want to grab, I would suggest doing it in the next couple weeks. Actually, you should do it this week because of the promo going on. But we'll talk about that at the end. So the Merry Mail card kit is like the rest of our card kits from Creative Memories. It's $22 and it gives you all of the supplies that you need to put the kit together. The only thing additional you would need to get is the repositional tape. This is a fancy case I have, but most repo tape comes in just our normal runner, but it does come with refills. Excuse me, you can order refills if you want. A lot of people like to use foam squares putting together their cards. I will admit foam squares I feel like aren't necessary in my life, but I'm going to try it today. They add a little bit of bulk in the envelope. I mean, does it add texture and dimension? Yes. It's just not something I usually think about in my scrapbooking habits. So I'm also putting them together on a silicone mat. It just adds a little bit of extra grip to keep my pieces all together. But if you don't have a silicone mat, it's fine. You can do it on a tabletop. I have put plenty of these together at the kitchen table. So you will get this nice little box. It's always hard to throw the boxes away. It makes a nice little gift box, if you will, for a small gift that you might have to give. Also, it will come with a bonus set of sentiments, and it looks like they're giving us some envelope seals if you want to get extra fancy. So if you want to take a peek at the sentiments, as you can with every card kit, perhaps there are some that you would like to swap out. Maybe you don't love the sentiments on the cards as they actually come. Or you can save these for other tags if you want to make for your gifts or scrapbooks or cards or whatever. So these are complete bonus. You won't need them to put together for the card kit today. It also comes with the blank cards and envelopes. Like I said, you'll get 12. Usually, you don't even need the card to put the card front together. So I'll keep these to the side, but in general, I make all the cards first, and then the card fronts to keep them, and then when I'm ready to put them on the card front, I can do that later. And then we have our instructions and all of our supplies. So I loved when I usually do card kits, I always sit in front of the TV. I'm watching a movie or a show. I do not sit very well without having my hands doing something. So card kits are rarely very easy to do. We have instructions for all 12, but our first step is actually to sort out the piles. So you want to have some space. It really is just sort my number of all the card pieces. So we have 1 through 12. Kind of create some piles for yourself. I don't even look at the other side. I'm only looking at the number. Some of them will have a few more pieces than the others. Perhaps a little bit more decoration on the card. Nice to mix in some of the simple ones with some of the ones with extra pieces. I know some of you have purchased this. Some of you have probably already put it together. Some of you may be sending these for all of your cards. I do not send them to everyone. I still do a photo card to send to my close friends and family. I remember the days, though, of growing up before the days of the photo cards when we would get real handwritten cards from everyone. My mom would always write a family letter, and we look forward to reading the letters from our other friends and family because this was, of course, pre-social media when you couldn't just turn on Facebook and see what everyone is up to. The mini card trios are easy also. They work just like this, except there's only 3 cards. So they do go a little bit faster. These card kits can take about an hour, a little faster if you're fast at sorting, a little slower if you get distracted by whatever you're watching. But it is a nice little evening project. I've actually had Cooper put these together for me before, even back when he was like 10. He would come in and want something to do. I'm like, can you put these kits together for me so I can show them off? These can be nice gifts also, put together or in pieces for people that you know that maybe are a little bit crafty but are never going to scrapbook. So once I have my piles, I usually will stack them up in reverse order. Some people like at this point to put the pieces inside of a card. I know Megan works like this quite a bit. I'm just going to stack them up in reverse order. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then I can have my instructions ready. Usually we are adhering the pieces in reverse alphabet order. So 1 is the card base, and then it usually tells you to look at the picture and adhere the pieces as shown. So they're all printed. There's nothing additional to add. This one just has 4 pieces. So it can be helpful too if you have a mat or a silicone mat or something to line up your center line. Just kind of get an idea of your spacing before you adhere your first piece. For tape, the repo tape will hold. It is repositional so that if you put something down wrong, you can lift it and readjust it and move it around. You will see I use a little bit more tape on card pieces than I do in my scrapbook. The scrapbook page has the benefit of getting a protector over it. The pages aren't handled very much other than in the book flipping. But cards, I want to make sure these pieces do stay on here. You can use regular tape also. There are definitely times when I use mostly regular tape because I think it does have a little bit of extra hold. You could also use our max strength tape, but once you put that tape down, you're pretty much done. So this is card number 1. As you can see, it's just the card front. I could just stack it up like this, or I can go ahead and adhere it. I think I'm actually going to use my real tape. I'm actually using up some old tabs. And they're actually, I think, getting kind of old, so I'm gonna definitely use a lot of them. Old tape I had in my stash to adhere this together. So that is card number 1. And you can just stack them up to the side. And we move on to card number 2. So it looks like for this one, they are using a card base as the base. So I do need to grab a card front. They want it to be vertical. So it opens from the right. And then we're going to adhere 2A. It looks like I misplaced 2A. So now I have to figure out, oh, it's underneath there. I just didn't grab the whole stack. Okay. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the pieces get in the wrong stack. So 2A. So again, this I just set it backwards. I didn't actually have to have the card base because that red piece is as big as the card front. This one's super cute with the stamped postage. And then 2C on 2B, which is the cross. The nice thing about the silicone mat also is when you're using repositional tape, you don't have to worry about the tape sticking to the mat. Now it looks like I'm ready for my bow. Like I said, pretty generous with the tape on these. I don't want these coming off. And then my Merry Little Christmas to you. My guess is there's a sentiment in the bonus that will allow you to skip the word Christmas if you want to send out non-denominational holiday cards. It's usually how the bonus pieces work. So there's card number 2. And then card number 3 has 3 pieces. Diana's saying she put 9 boxes together, so that's a little over 100 cards. Very impressive. I'm not opposed to actually putting together 9 card kits and sending these, but I do like to write things on there about what the kids have been up to, which is why I do the photo card. So why am I making these? What will I use these for? I actually use these for more local gifts. So for sure, Marco, my UPS driver, and Brenda, my postal carrier, will get one of these cards full of cash. I tip them well every year because they provide me with excellent service. As you can imagine, the amount of boxes that I go through shipping, I like to take care of them. And I feel like it is such a bargain because Marco's mentioned it before too. I mean, you guys know how much Creative Memory stuff I probably get, and he's bringing it. He takes some of my stuff, but he will come by even if he doesn't have anything for me on some days. He'll let me text him. I usually tip him like $100. I'm like, that is the best $100, to basically offer me white glove service. They work hard. Same for my mail carrier. Although she's starting to talk about retiring. I'm like, you cannot retire. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It looks like I might be missing a piece. So this was A, B, and C, and I need D, E, F, and G. So I'm missing E, which is that little blue. Oh, it got down there in the number 5 pile. Tricky little pieces. So I would use these cards for people that are closer to me or not as close to me, whichever it may be, that don't need a synopsis of me and my kids' life. The kids will use them sometimes, if they do like a Secret Santa. But this is one of my favorite sets I think we've had. I think it's the craft color in the kids. Oh, I said I was going to use up this tape. Who else do you guys tip? My hairdresser, I haven't been going to that long. I don't know if I would actually give her a holiday tip per se yet. Sometimes I feel like I should give one to my bar instructor for doing such a great job of working me out. I gotta find which one am I on? My papers are out of order. There we go. Card number 5. Bus drivers. I do usually send something for the bus driver. Teachers, it's a little bit more challenging in high school, but my kids definitely will ask me sometimes for specific teachers that they want to give something to. Of course, with Cooper, I'm like, you just need to make your holiday nuts and make candy pecans. Like, make those and offer them to your teacher. So cute. These are really so cute. I have not even used our Christmas collection obviously yet, but some of these would be really cute on scrapbook pages, maybe changing the sentiment or keeping the sentiment off of it. But I love the color scheme. I love that it's a muted green and red, not so bright. Okay, ready for card number 6? So I did cave I caved this morning. It got really cold last night. It's down to the 30s at night here. And I made it through the whole night and I made it through a lot of the morning. And then I was just like, I do not want to be cold today. So I turned the heat on. Usually I like to wait about a week before, or a couple of weeks between the AC going off and the heat coming on, but we basically went from 80s during the day to 30s at night in just a few days. I need to use some of this tape on the straight pieces. It makes me very grouchy to be cold during the day, and I will wear layers, but I'm just kind of a cold-natured person. I'm wondering too, yeah, so one thing to know, it's new that Creative Memories is putting their stamp on the back, and there is a difference in the vertical and horizontal. So this one I was about to put on this card base, but actually I need to look at the back of it and make sure that it's on the appropriate orientation for the trademark. So that's card number 6, so halfway done. It's only been 18 minutes. They really are so fast. So I need card number 7. It is easier for me sometimes to look at the card in the front and not really the numbers on the back. See, I haven't even used any foam squares yet. I told you I'm horrible about foam squares. They just don't cross my mind. These have some layering in the pieces, so I feel like there's already dimension there. Maybe I could pop up this foliage a little bit on this one. I wouldn't do it with Christmas cards, but putting together our other card kits is a gift idea I always suggest at the holidays for that person that maybe has everything, like a grandma or someone, but in that generation that still likes to send cards. You can go ahead and put them together for them. So all they need to do is mail them. And I've given them to my grandma before. Okay, so foam squares on this one. I'm gonna make that middle really stand up though. And make sure I really want to pop up the whole thing. And they take a little extra time, and I'm usually like, I don't need the extra time. So this is only get a little bit tricky then. I have to make sure I adhere right here and here to really stick on the elevated pieces. So card number 7. Time for merrymaking. Have you guys heard of the social media app called Marco Polo? So it is a video app where you can kind of have a chat thread, but it's on video. And so I have one with my mom and my sisters and my sister-in-law. So I'm the oldest of six. I'm gonna have to swap out one of my bases because these are all vertical left. So I put one of these on a horizontal base. Yep, this one. So the conversation this week has been about our Christmas tradition. So every Christmas Eve, we go to my mom's house, and this is basically our main Christmas. We've always had traditional meal. My mom uses her Christmas china. We have the ham and the mashed potatoes and all the things, and then we clean it up, and then we do gifts. And way back a long time ago, I'm the oldest, so we would do gifts by youngest to oldest, and you kind of got your turn. Well, we've obviously grown quite a bit in the 23 years since we started this. And so now it is kind of an ordeal to have everyone in the same room. My parents have one of those kind of traditional 60s. They have three levels, but it's kind of that four square format a little bit. I mean, you do have an entry and you come in, but there's no main big room. I'm trying to decide which way. This way. And so my sister brought up the conversation, like, what are we going to do this year? This is the year that two of my siblings were coming in from out of town. So all six of us will be there. Five of us have families. There's 16 grandkids. My kids are at the upper end of that. And so she's suggesting that we consider really what we want to do about the gifts. Maybe we drop the adult gifts, which we've always just drawn names for the adults and the kids. She's like, we could just do whatever food, like Mexican, or just my other sister, like we could just do crock pots where you can kind of eat when you want, hang out where you want, have a little less formality in the schedule so people have more room to breathe. And we're not all on top of each other trying to eat at the same time and do gifts at the same time. And at first I was trying to just be like, go with the flow. I'm like, we'll do whatever, but I said, do not expect us to be down there and have a meal at noon. I have a house full of teenagers and young adults, and no one here wants to eat the big meal at 12 o'clock. So as long as you don't expect us to be here that early, we'll go along with it, whatever. But then as the conversation went on, and I was not in a great mood Sunday, and I was like, I feel like I just lost Christmas. Like, we're not even gonna have the traditional food. You're talking about doing like some of the little Christmas program that they would do on the next day because everyone except me and my sister and my brother, so the ones coming into town are still gonna be at my mom's on Christmas Day, which they usually just have like brunch and Santa gifts. It's pretty low key. So then when they were talking about doing all the traditional things on Christmas Day, I was like, wait a minute. I feel like I just lost Christmas. And so it's been an interesting conversation. I think in the end, we all agree we can't eat the same way. Like, but my mom can set up, and she's gonna, I think, set up the garage. So there's tables out there. There won't be any assigned seating, like the adults' table or the kids' table. You just kind of eat wherever you want. And we're still talking about the gifts. I think in the end, the guys don't care. I'm thinking that they don't even need to be in a gift exchange. But maybe the girls, the women, I should say, do kind of a white elephant, maybe. And then the kids should just get one gift each. And so then the question is like, will my mom even buy them gifts? Or if she does, will she give them to them on the Christmas for the ones that are staying? And I usually get every kid a little something. I always get the Lifesaver books. Sometimes I get other stuff. And I'm kind of like, don't tell me who I can and cannot buy for. Although I acknowledge this year I'm a little bit more distracted with so much going on that I'm not sure how much shopping I would get done. But and then my sister-in-laws all chime in, and all three of them are basically like, we think whatever, Renee wants. It's her house, it's her holiday. And I just laughed. I'm like, leave it to sister-in-laws. The daughter-in-laws to be the one to like not have an opinion. But us three girls, the real daughters, like not afraid to express our opinion. I've talked about having it somewhere else, but the problem if you like rent a community center somewhere is you really do only have one large space. There's no walls, there's no carpet, there's nothing to buffer the sound. I don't think that would be any better either. I think we should just keep it at my mom's house. And in general, most of us are fine with it. Is it awkward? Is it, challenging for one day? Yeah, it's loud. Some people talk too loud. Some of the kids get a little worked up and run around, but my kids like their tradition of it. And I do too, I guess, because it really is kind of my Christmas. On Christmas Day, so ever since I got divorced, he has let me keep them on Christmas Eve because of going to my mom's house. And so I would get them Christmas morning, every Christmas morning. Can you believe it? I mean, what a gift that was. And then about noon or so, they go down to their dad's house. And then they stay with him for the days after Christmas, which is totally fine. So they leave, and I'm like, take a deep breath. And I sit on the couch for a minute, and then I clean it all up. I have to go back and find another card base. So don't make my error. Look at the back of the card bases first. This is new for this holiday kit. This is the first one that it mattered actually what kind of base it went on. Then I clean up Christmas and I clean up the house. And then I usually have several days by myself, and it is bliss. I love it. I love being by myself. Sometimes I just like check out of social media. I don't even look at it. It's kind of have my time to decompress from the year. Because in some of this conversation, my mom was like, well, if we do all that on Christmas, you would come down, wouldn't you, Tessa? And I'm like, no, actually, I'm not. Christmas Eve is it. I'm not coming back on Christmas Day. I will be cleaning my house, and I don't want the pressure of having to be there by a certain time. Now that the kids can drive, they can leave whenever, right? Doesn't matter when their dad and stepmom are wanting them to be there. When they actually get in the car and drive down there is when they're going to leave, versus when he used to pick them up and they had to be ready by a certain time. So they are not always very quick about getting out of here. Sometimes it's been like 1 or after 1. So I don't want any pressure either by leaving. I used to kind of make Christmas breakfast for them, but the last few years, I just know they're not going to eat. So they always want juice. Campbell wants grape juice. I usually have orange juice. The past couple years, I've made homemade cinnamon rolls. Even if no one actually wants to eat them that morning, I freeze them. So when they come back, they actually still taste pretty fresh. Probably have to go swap this out too. Yeah, this is a horizontal, so I need one more horizontal back. I think last year I actually made a breakfast casserole in the cinnamon rolls because I like the breakfast casserole. They're so easy to make, and then I can eat that for days by myself. And then, of course, like cut up oranges or whatever. And you're right, Judy, that is when I should plan Winter Frolic. That is usually when I have to start thinking about the kickoff crop. Do I have pictures printed? Kicking off the new year is never very far away. This year, though, it might feel a little bit differently. Campbell might not go to her dad's. Well, she would go Christmas night, but the last few years he has taken them on a little ski trip, although he keeps trying to take them to Pennsylvania. And then it's not cold. It's like 60s and there's like no real snow. But every year my mom, trying to get off this little cat here, I think it is. My mom will always rent out the roller skating rink in their town, and she invites my dad's extended family, which is very large. He is one of 13. So whoever wants to come, they don't all come, but any aunts, uncles, grandkids, whatever, can just come roller skate. And she usually does that on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. But this year she moved it to the 28th, since that's when my siblings will still be here, but my kids will be on their ski trip. So now Campbell's saying I might not go on the ski trip. I might stay with you because I can't ski anyways because of her knee. I might not really be alone, but it's okay. It's fine. Well, that's card number 12. See, all I have to do is talk about tradition and family, and I'm all done. So that was about half an hour. This is pretty simple, and aren't they just adorable? So I guess in hindsight, pay attention to the back of your cards if you want the watermark, trademark. And if you really want to do foam squares, you're just going to have to pay more attention to me. Like I said, I don't really think about them. I don't really think they're really necessary, especially on this kit. You have all these layers and it adds a dimension for you. So why should you buy it this week? If you are going to get the cards, because they do have the sketchbook promo where if you spend $100, you get the sketchbook and the birthday bash embellishments. We've been showing this to you all week, but it is a very nice sketchbook with project recipes. So it's not just sketches. They actually give you all the measurements and the directions for putting the layouts together. So 5 card kits would get you there if you need that many cards. If you don't, of course, there's always other things to buy or other card kits to get with that. So then you have your envelopes. You'll be ready to send, and then don't forget to pull out your seals if you want, especially if you're like putting money in there. That would be a fun little way to keep it sealed. Um, so there you go. That is definitely a beginner project. The Merry Mail card kit available from Creative Memories while supplies last. And so we'll see how long they keep them from selling out. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know if you decide to get any card kits or if you decide to send Christmas kits. If you need someone to send to, you can always send one to me if you need to or whatnot. So that is all I have for now. I am still debating a little bit about Simply Scrappy on Friday. You will probably find out for sure tomorrow. It is fall break for my kids, and so I hesitated to schedule it out just in case we wanted to actually go do something. So if you don't see me, that's why, because we really did kind of take a real fall break weekend for that. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time. Just stay tuned to the events, and that will keep you informed. So bye-bye for now.